Good morning and welcome to TMI Socials. I am Anwoluwapo Stevens. Or better still, call me a social media butterfly. Now this morning we get to begin with the biggest story making the round on social media about a Lagos-based National Youth Service Corps member, Ushie Uguamaye, has raised concerns over alleged threats following her viral video criticizing President Bola Tinubu's government over inflation and economic hardship. Now, in a video shared on her TikTok account on Saturday, she expressed frustration over Nigeria's worsening economic conditions, lamenting that hard work seems futile amid financial struggles. She openly criticized and questioned the government's efforts to alleviate citizen suffering. Additionally, she described Lagos State as a smelling state, complaining about its odor and poor living conditions. Let's take a listen to her.
I'm coming from the supermarket where I went to get foodstuffs and everything has gone up again. It's just like every single week prices increase. I want to know, what is the government doing about this increment? Is there going to be a particular time where prices will stop going up? Is there going to be a particular time where things are going to go back? Guys, why am I going to get a crate of egg and they're telling me it is 6.5? It doesn't make any sense that egg will cost 6.5. Like, I literally can't remember when egg used to cost 800. And I'm so overwhelmed because this is literally my first time doing this adulthood thing alone. This is my first time moving out of my family house. This is my first time living by myself. And not just that, after I left the supermarket and I got home, my security is bringing NEPA bill, and NEPA bill has gone up by 2 times. Like, it's insane. I can't keep up with these bills. I am so overwhelmed and I'm so exhausted. Every single money that I have been making, I'm using it to pay bills. I don't even get to live properly. The craziest thing was, you want to go out to a certain location with your friends, and Uber is about 25,000. Like, even Uber, that we can't even take Uber. It is crazy. Like, why are things so expensive? And let's not even Lagos things. Lagos smells like So I'm coming from the supermarket where I went to get foodstuffs and everything has gone up again. It's just like every single week prices increase. I want to
Right, so according to her, after she made this video on Saturday and posted on TikTok, she got an alert threat call from a particular NYSC officials because she is a core member. But let's see tweets and see how Nigerians have been reacting to this story. Interestingly, Amnesty International has reacted to it. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar said something regarding it. But this one is from Aisha Yusufu, who says, "You said it all. That girl was crying for help, clearly overwhelmed. And instead of love, care, and apology, she gets threatened." Another reaction from another social media user. This time around, Mr. Macaroni says, "To the DG, coordinators, and every officials of the NYSC, you cannot threaten, intimidate, or victimize any corper for expressing their view on the performance of the president. They are citizens with rights. The president is in office to serve the people, and every Nigerian, copper or not, has the right to hold your leaders accountable." Moving over to something else, we have another reaction. Well, this time around from, okay, let's see if we could have from the former Vice President of Nigeria, and he says a lot of interesting stuff there. But away from that, one more reaction to the story, if we could have that on the screen right now. Other social media user says, "When adulthood meets Gen Z, no one should threaten our baby. Oh, she is right. I support her." Finally, Hamatan says, "If you are working really hard to take care of yourself and not depending on anybody's money to survive, you will understand this lady's point of pain and why she's overwhelmed. Babe is practically not depending on any man to live. Kudos to her, though. Sorting these things isn't for kids." Oh, well, interesting. Now, still on bringing out legs and holding people accountable, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election, Peter Obi, has taken a swipe at President Bola Tinubu, sarcastically praising him for fulfilling his promise to continue from where the former President Muhammadu Buhari stopped. Take a listen to him.
Frankly, the government of APC under the president's regime have done very well. Because remember, when the president was campaigning, he said he would continue from where Buhari stopped. And if you check it, Buhari stopped the dollar at about 400. It's now 1,006. So it's done very well. The rest was about 30,000. It's not over 100,000. Beans was about 40,000. It's not over 100,000. I can go on and on. Everything have doubled and tripled. Fuel was about 200, 300, and it's not over 1,000. So you can say the government has done very well as the promise. And that's what we must all know now. The government has just said, we are coming together for the future of this better society.
Well, that was Peter Obi there last week, Thursday. He stated that when he had a visit to Governor Bala Mohammed in Bauchi State. Now let's have reactions and see how Nigerians took this online. Interestingly, talking about continuing from where former president stopped. This user says, the Naira was 800 to $1 before Tinubu. This despite Nigeria borrowing to defend it. Long-term Naira stability can only happen by increasing our exports and foreign reserves. That only happens as we become more productive. This is what Tinubu is trying to accomplish, but it takes time, and we have already seen results. By the way, Peter Obi, during his term as governor of Anambra, was not able to boost local production in his state. That state will still import majority of its goods, and it's heavily dependent on VAT. All right, another user says something else. Let's have this one from Justice, who wrote, Bajay keeps playing politics with important issues. He enjoys the arbitrage or what? Even when he said he was going to maintain a single forex, but he wants to score political points. One more tweet on the story from another user who has something different to say. Well, Dalami on Instagram says, so are you saying you can bring the dollar down from 400 if you were the president? Laugh out loud. No foreigner will invest in Nigeria. You are only saying because you aren't there. And if you are, you still will blame the past president. So it's more or less like a blame game situation right now. Away from that, and still on the blame game saga, well, this time around from El-Rufai, the immediate past governor of Kaduna State, has alleged that the crisis being faced by opposition parties like the PDP, the LP, and NPP, amongst others, were being sponsored by the government of the day. Well, El-Rufai stated this during a visit to the Social Democratic Party national headquarters on Tuesday, barely 72 hours after he resigned from the ruling All Progressive Congress. You will recall that El-Rufai was one of the founding members of the ruling APC, resigned and joined the opposition party on Monday last week. Take a listen to him.
The crisis that 1990 is facing in the Labour Party is contrived and funded by the government of the day. Everyone knows it. Jumping from one court to another is all designed to distract the party leadership from focusing on their core functions. The same thing is happening in the PDP.
Worse.
Even the NNPP has been targeted for disruption. There are people that have been resourced to go and cause problems in the NNPP. The last thing I read about NNPP was that one faction of the party has expelled Kwankwaso and the sitting governor. When you see things like that, you know it is...
Now let's have tweets and see what Nigerians are saying regarding this particular video, and El-Rufai in particular, who has been in the news for interesting reasons. Well, this one says, suddenly, El-Rufai has become the Messiah. Hey, tell me about it. Well, another user says something else. Bro, you wouldn't be saying this if Tinubu recognized you. You're all the same. Still on the story, moving over to another tweet. This user wrote, Listen to the message and forget the messenger. It's deeper than we all think. Well, finally on the story, another user says something else. How are we sure you were not funded to come and destabilize SDP? We haven't forgotten your dance steps after the visit to Chatham House, London. Now, speaking about the dance steps, in case you missed it, let's have a feel of what happened some time ago in London.
But it is contrived and funded by the government.
Politics, always a game of interest if you ask me. Away from that, in Ogun State, the Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, has appointed Samuel Badeleke and Harunu Adebanki, who emerged as the best graduating student of the University of Lagos during its 55th convocation as the state's education ambassadors. Well, the governor also presented them with checks of 10 million naira each in recognition of their academics excellence. Receiving them at his office in Abeokuta, the state capital, on Friday, Abiodun commended their exceptional achievement of attaining a 5.0 grade point average, stating that they had not only made the state proud, but also set themselves on the path to greatness. Moving over to reactions on this particular story that got a lot of people talking. Ikechukwu wrote, applaudable. This is what the government is supposed to be doing to encourage education. Another user says, education finally getting its rightful rewards, really. Well, moving over to something else, this user says, you leave your own states, go there promote other states. I am not understanding. Now, finally on the story, this user says, amazing, this will encourage others, not be the one BBN, go there receive money pass, who no book. Sorry for the stray bullets, BBN lovers. Well, as we tend to wrap up TMI socials today, a trending video of the Olu of Warri, His Majesty Ogiame Atuwashe III, riding scooter through his ancestral home, Ode Shekiri. Now, in this video, which has gone viral now on Saturday, the Olu of Warri was seen on the scooter as his followers hailed and sang his praises. Well, tell me about the digital king. Let's take a look. King, Gen Z King, King with Steez. Let's have two reactions on the story as we wrap things up this morning. Having our first reaction from Duzu user, if we could have that right now, who actually hailed their king and said a lot of beautiful stuff about him. Anyway, that's how we wrap up TMI Social this morning. Okay, so this user says, the real Gen Z king. And then another one says, man is just enjoying the simple things of life. Being a king shouldn't stop you from living. And absolutely, he's living his best life like nobody's business. Well, thank you so much for being here today with me on TMI Socials. I am Anwoluwapo Stevens. And from all of us on This Morning on ITV, do have yourself a fantastic day. We'll see you again tomorrow.